Welcome, champions, to the next in my overview and tier list ranking, featuring the newest champion. This is where we'll break down their mechanics and place them in my overall tier list for every champion in the game. So let's talk about Brother Uriah, the lawful good human cleric. He is the final member, as far as I know, of the Black Dice Society, a rather decent affiliation that has taken up a large number of the newest champions over the last few months. He fits in by serving the tags of support and healing, acting as their only healer. His first formation ability, Doomed in Darkon, serves as a very standard buff, increasing the damage of all champions in his column and the column behind him, which positionally is interesting, because to date we haven't had a champion's formation ability be a single column, forward or behind, as well as the champion's column. I know I'm going to hear from a few of you in the comments, so let me clarify. Yes, we have someone, for example, like Donner, who buffs everyone in his own column and then everyone behind him. That's not what I mean. We have never had anyone buff everyone in their own column and then a single column behind. His support also comes from In the Grip of Azalin Rex, where after 100 collective attacks from the formation, Azalin Rex takes over Brother Uriah for 20 seconds, though he has a feat to double the duration to 40 seconds, during which he will increase the damage of all evil champions, but also includes Nahara to keep it in the affiliation, the BDS. Other than his affiliation with Fen and Nahara, very few DPS fit this criteria. He can work with Artemis and Kron, but he doesn't fit their preferred criteria, not being a DPS for Artie, and not having the strength or evil alignment for Kron. He's not bad for Warduke, Arkan, and Prudence, however, being easy to position for Warduke, while offering two separate positional abilities to scale him up, and having a magical attack with Prudence should you be pairing her with Ulcoria. His healing comes from Ezra's Embrace, where he heals all champions within 2 slots every second. This will be increased for each formation slot containing a dead champion or escort. So think Desmond's Lament the Lost, but instead stacking additively and then applying multiplicatively. Now, we need to talk about healing in this game. Very early on, and in rare cases, in some variants, is just about the only time healing matters, because it's for such a low amount. And this is no different. The only healer that breaks this cycle is Briv, and that's because it's percent based on damage received, so it always stays relevant. Some of you love it, some of you hate it, but you know what time it is. Math time! So for a base example, if we look at 25 and 50 as our two numbers, we know 25 is 50% of 50. So let me show you how we get that. We take that 25 and we multiply it by 100. Then we divide it by the 50, and we see our percentage, 50. So taking that, let's look at Brother Uriah's healing against my tank's health. I've given him a setup of the 3 deadies to scale his healing as hard as you naturally can. Now granted, you will scale this further with item levels, but still, 1.22 E4, or 12,200. My Briv's health is at 7.83 E8. Or 783 million. So 12,200 multiplied by 100 divided by 783 million for a whopping 0.001%. I mean, essentially nothing. At that rate, that means it would take 18 hours in-game to fully heal Briv. We really need a rework on healing for the mid to late game, to be at least somewhat based on the percentage of a champion's health, or giving healing a real girthy boost in the later champion levels. Otherwise, we're just going to be stuck in this rut forever. His specialization choice is rather simple, where he has the choice between 2 different sources of casual reading material, either choosing the Book of Exalted Deeds, which will make undead and fiends his favored foes, and increase all champion damage against them by 200%, or the Book of Vile Darkness, which increases the effect of In the Grip of Azalin Rex by 100%, And as is becoming more of a tradition lately, he has a gear slot tied to scaling these specialization choices up to keep the choice relevant. In general, the latter is going to be your default choice, but if you are pairing him with some favored foeage, as Season 2's theme is still going strong, and undead are a common pick for that, you just might select the first for a favored foe grind. His ultimate is basically another Shaka, where he summons a wall of whirling razor-sharp blades that deals damage near the enemy's spawn area, and will last for 10 seconds. Each time an enemy goes through them, they will take damage, and if you keep pushing them into it, they will continually deal damage to them. It should be noted that he's got wisdom pouring out of his pores at 22, so he's great to put adjacent to his compatriot Fen, and is nrackable as well. So let's talk about the event he's tied to, Grand Revel. This year we have Brother Uriah, Vi, and Human. And this time there is no question whatsoever who needs to be focused here. Vi is by far the least important out of these three, with Brother Uriah in the middle. Human, however, is one of the most important, potentially the most important, depending on who you ask, speed champion in the entire game. And this will be Human's last year before being retired. So this is the last opportunity to farm them up during an event, and is more important than ever to do it now if you haven't done it before. As always, if you have the means, I recommend full epicking whoever you can. But if you need a focus, Human is objectively the best choice. Now what about Brother Uriah's achievement and adventure variants? To start, his achievement is fairly simple, requiring you to activate his In the Grip of Azalin Rex 30 seconds after it falls off. All that means is you need to attack 100 times with primary attacks in that duration. Slot any attack speed champions you might have, like Whittle, Desmond, or Virgil. Then get near a zone with armor or hit-based enemies, so your champions don't have to rely on enemy spawn speed to attack. If they kill that enemy or blockade, then go back an area and forward again as quickly as you can to respawn said hit-based enemies, and watch them whittle them down for those 100 attacks. Zone 17 of the current event campaign works well for this, as it has 2 hit-based blockades. In his first variants, he cannot be moved or removed from your formation, and only the champion in the middle 2 columns will be able to deal damage. This is very simple and is designed to get you familiar with his formation ability, Doomed in Darkon. In the second, he can be moved but not removed from your formation. 2 ravens will take up slots in your formation, and every 10 seconds, a boulder falls on a random champion, dealing 25% of their total health in damage. He starts with his healing ability, Ezra's Embrace, unlocked, and you can easily position him to reach everyone in your formation. Sometimes in a situation like this, it's best to use tanks like the Nerds, who don't increase the HP of your formation, or Krydle, who doesn't actually have that much health to work with to begin with. Because like I said, healing is so shitty in this game. When you're dealing with a percent mechanic like this, it's sometimes best to have lower health, so your healers can actually heal it up. But honestly, 25% of a single champion every 10 seconds shouldn't be that bad anyway. In his third, he can be moved but not removed again, and only Black Dice Society members or champions with a natural attack cooldown of 5 seconds or less can be used, focusing on his last formation ability, In the Grip of Azalin Rex. This one is a bit restrictive and might give you some trouble, so be ready. His availability is okay, currently being available for 2 patrons, though with Nahara you can pull him into Strahd to count as a third, but only has 1 day 1 lockout from Trials, which is his dexterity. So what about where I'd put him in my overall tier list? I think he's a good addition to the BDS, and alright for the rest of the game. His double buffing being restricted to only affecting evil DPS champions is very restrictive. But for everything he brings to the table, I think he's in that B to high B range. He could have brought more to the table, but he's not bad, and he does serve his purpose within his affiliation. I'm glad you dropped by and decided to stick around. For those of you who are familiar with my videos, and if you detected something was off, I do have a cold, so I might not be as high energy and my voice might sound a bit off. I do what I can with what I got. but what I got's not a lot. No, it's not. But either way, thanks for being here. Give an embrace to the like, sub, and bell for me. Leave a comment on what you think of Brother Uriah and the Black Dice Society. Stay tuned because I'm always working on the next one. Have a hell of a time out there, champions.